Hey, this is Clint from CT Mad Mods, and this week we got a new project. It's a Samurai on tracks. What are we gonna do to it? It looks like somebody molded in a metal top into this thing. It's pretty well done. You can see where it's starting to kind of crack, but I've never seen that before. And this metal roof is really cool. Looks like he's got the 1.3 liter with a Weber carburetor. Looks pretty stockish. It runs really good. Got the old school Badlands winch. Trying to make this thing into a G-Wagon. These are side-by-side tracks. Me and my buddy Todd, we did a show on Discovery Channel. It was a reality show called Last Outpost, and we put side-by-side tracks on a Geo Tracker, and they work pretty good in the wintertime in the snow. The only thing I don't like about the setup is that whenever you go to shift gears, the rig just kind of falls on its face and you lose momentum. So if you want to go any faster than first gear, then you really have to get into the RPM so you can shift and not lose momentum. So apparently what we're doing to this is we're taking the tracks off for the summer because he wants to daily drive it. He's got some rims and tires in the back seat, and we're gonna put a new third member in it. I guess it's all locked up and he wants to take that out. The interior is pretty clean, this thing. Got some little BFGs that we're gonna throw on here. And this sucker smells like gas. So he wants us to figure out why it smells like gas. I don't know if somebody spilled gas in the back or if it's actually got a gas leak, but we'll figure that out too. Get her up on the lift and we're gonna start looking this thing over. Let's back this little sucker out. Get some video of it in the sun. G-Wagon. That's cool. Interior super clean. It's got square vents, so must be 88.5 or newer. Oops. Cool. It does smell like gasoline in here. All right, well, let's get her up on the lift and get started.
I don't know how high we're gonna want these off the ground because I bet those are heavy.
I gotta change that third member, so I'm gonna take these tracks off. We built one of these on the show we did on Discovery Channel, and the way that you connect these to the axle is through this hub back here, and I think you just take these bolts off and it comes off. So I'm gonna set this on that pallet right there so it doesn't fall off, and start unbolting it. There it is. Was it heavy?
50, 60 pounds, 70
Yeah.
pounds.
Yeah. So,
Ooh, that's one of those 2-piece ones.
right.
I've seen those before.
We're just gonna take all that off. Hopefully these don't strip out.
That is little tiny.
I know.
To hold all that torque,
For that, yeah.
like an 8mm stick.
It's coming off. Got that one all apart, and I'm gonna get that other side apart, and then we're gonna take out that third member. Got the axles out. The other one's still sitting in there, but draining this little bit of oil that's left in here. And I'm about to pull this drive line and pull all them bolts for that third member and knock that out of there. And I got an extra third member sitting over here. Without a locker in it, that's going in it. I already got this in the air, and I'm taking this third member off, and I noticed that they don't have a fuel filter up here. They just ran the line straight. It might be why we're smelling gas. One of these lines might be loose, so I smell gasoline. It's pretty potent. So I'm gonna take all these bolts out, knock this third member out of here, and we're gonna move to the next step. You just wanna take a chisel and kind of get into this edge and hit it with a hammer, and that sucker will pop loose. Let me pull this sucker out of here. I got my new third member all cleaned up. I went around the edge with a sanding disc on my grinder because them chisels kind of beat up these edges. Made sure it was all nice and clean, flat, and put some brake parts cleaner on there and got it all cleaned up. Here's a tech tip. Go grab one of them axles before you put this thing back together and make sure that that sucker goes in there and fits. I just had a short side mission. I had to put side gears into that rear end, and it just so happens I had a broken Gen 2 tracker third member sitting here that I could rob 26 spline side gears. Apparently this was a front end, so we had 3 or 4 third members sitting around, and I didn't even really count. That's why you always test it before you put it in. So I threw side gears in there, and now it's just an open diff. Got my brakes all put back together. Got that third member in. He's got an open diff now. About to put some oil in it. We're almost back together. These little tiny wheels and tires look funny compared to those tracks on this thing. But we have the rear end all put together and bled the brakes. Kind of made a mess. And I need to take these front tracks off. So we're almost done here. So the way that they keep these things from flipping over is it looks like they welded this little bracket on there, and they have this that bolts up like that. And it's kind of this is a side-by-side track, and that's how they do them with side-by-sides. They just have like a brace that keeps it from rolling over. They'll still articulate pretty good, but they won't roll all the way over. I didn't even film this, but this hub was locked up. I couldn't put it in free spin, and so I took it all apart. I did the little trick where you put a bolt in there to get that C-clip back in. You pull the axle back out, and so I got that out of there. But this thing was really rusted up, and I can't spin the free and lock dial. It's just frozen. So I've got one at the house I'm gonna pick up and bring here, and that one probably needs to be rebuilt. It's all rusty, but greased all this up. I'm about to put this together. It's almost done. We just have a fuel leak to fix. Notice that it's missing the fuel filter, so somebody must have done a field fix. Must have had it out in the back country, and fuel filter probably clogged up or something, so they just took it out of the mix. But I'm gonna put a new fuel filter in it, and I think we're just about done. Take it for a little road trip here shortly, I guess, and see how she runs. I don't know if this is gonna do any good, but I put some rust penetrant in there. I'm gonna soak that overnight and see if I can break that sucker loose. Like I was saying, I had to rebuild this, and I ended up having a couple of extra hubs at my house. Had a broken hub and some pieces and parts, and this is his original one. I went ahead and just changed the whole thing out because this one, it was in pretty rough shape. So just put a whole new hub on there, painted it to make it look brand new. I'm gonna put this wheel and tire back on, and I gotta figure out why it's leaking fuel. This fuel, you can smell it very heavily right here, and there's supposed to be a fuel filter right here. It looks like maybe they had an inline fuel pump or something at one time, I'm not sure, but this is not fuel line. I don't know what this is, but it smells like maybe that's where this fuel leak is. It's in the general area. Looked on top of the fuel tank and it all seems dry, but the smell's very loud. So I got a fuel filter, a stock Suzuki fuel filter, and I'm gonna make that bracket right there work for this. Turn it sideways, and I'm gonna get this thing mounted in there. All right, just installed the filter, and as you can hear, it's running, and no more gas smell. That hose right there, when I pulled it off, it was black because it was like wet, and I think it was just leaking through that hose or something. But that one of those hose clamps was real loose too, so that's not good fuel line. I don't know, it was probably just a trail fix. So we'll move on to the next thing. Time for a test drive. That's junk. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we solved the gas leak issue, and now he has a filter. Let's take this thing for a test drive. Before I drive this, I decided I was gonna go ahead and change the oil and everything. I pulled the plug on the transmission, everything stinks. So I can't imagine that running them tracks did these axles and transmission and transfer case any favors. So I'm gonna go ahead and change everything, do a good service on it, so it's all brand new before we give it to Mike. Just did a full oil service on this thing. Got some good oil in the diffs, transmission transfer case, and now I'm changing the oil in the engine. It all needed to go. These things lived a rough life. Rule number one of a test drive: make sure that hood's latched. All right, we're gonna take a quick rip in this thing. Make sure we don't have any leaks. Let's see how she does. Safety first. The seatbelt on. Oh man, these seats are cool looking, but buddy, they are uncomfortable. I don't know what these are. God. All right, we're about to take a little ride. Runs pretty good. Apparently Mike works right here at Dive, Alaska. Let's go see him.
The mailman.
Well, you know what she could use? A lift kit.
2 inches on it already.
All right, that's about it. That's a wrap on this one. If you watched it to the end, thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me everything I did wrong on this one. Leave a comment. Thanks for watching my video.